Judy Chapter 3 Part 2 has now been fully released, and with this video I'll be giving you the most comprehensive guide on Judy Chapter 3 Part 2. This video is technically just a cheat sheet on how to beat this game with ease in 2 to 3 tries, provided that the game doesn't break, because it still does that sometimes. From fighting Envy, freeing Judy, and getting stuck at the chess puzzle, this is literally the ultimate guide for Judy Chapter 3 Part 2. Envy's garden has two main tasks that you have to accomplish: get the chain and get 2 small hooks. Firstly, walk over the patch to Love Island. This will trigger the events to start. There's this mantis guy that keeps walking around and killing you in 2 hits. Going above the vines is the safe spots. It's pretty easy to dodge this guy. You basically just have to look out for him and go up the vines when you hear his loud noises. Let's start off with the chain because it's like the easiest to get. The chain will be under a vine in the main road attached to like a seat. It spawns randomly. Just hold E and get the chain. By the way, the hook and the chain instantly registers. You don't have to run back to the patch and put a chain in or any kind of thing like that. So it's basically way more simpler. The hook is definitely more tricky. There will be this scarecrow teleporting around the garden, making this drilling sound. He has hooks for hands and he will swing about it violently. If he swings at you, you basically die. However, sometimes he will stop and rest after a few swings. This is the time to strike and to get the hook. But however, it's only like a 7-second window, so you will have to be extremely fast. What I recommend you to do is hide in the bushes or right on top of the scarecrow at the vines to be safe, and immediately run for it when it gets tired. Don't hesitate at all. That is such a short time window. React quickly. Once getting the chain and hook, run over to the patch and you have passed Envy's garden, just like that. There's not much to this obby, to be honest. The first part is a simple platforming obby with spikes that rotate around as you platform, bombs that move around and probably will kill you, a wall bit where you have to get into the cracks, and a platforming bit where the platforms move sometimes. This part is pretty straightforward. You just do parkour, you know, like there's not much advice that I can give for that. The only advice that I have is to just slow down. This isn't a mimic. There is no scary ass monster chasing after you. All you have to do is just take your time, plan your jumps right, and you should make it past this part without much problem. Loveland is a pretty tricky level, and this is definitely a difficulty spike here. Firstly, make your way through the small building. Before triggering the monster at the fake door, try and find where the kettle is. It usually looks brownish and it is in the small building. You just have to look for it. Once you get the kettle, make your way to the control room by opening up this hidden door. The kettle can also appear in the control room as well. Flip the second and third switches and activate the monkey by getting close to the fake door. By the way, the control room is a safe spot, but the lockers aren't. Don't trust the lockers, they are not safe. Use the control room as a safe spot. Make your way to the fake door, turn the switch beside the door, and make it back to spawn. There will be this new garage place that has just opened up, and this is the chess puzzle where loads of people get stuck on. So many people get stuck on this, in fact, that I had to make a full guide on how to beat this chess puzzle. There will be a link appearing at the top right, but if you want a really summarized version, this is it. Pay attention to your feet. Make sure every time you move, you look down every time you move, because you can look at your feet. This ensures you that you are 100% in the block. What most people do is they assume they have moved enough when they actually haven't. Most people get killed because like a bit of their body is not inside the tile, and what the monster wants is for your 100% body to be in the tile. Even if 1% of your body is out of the tile, you're dead. That's basically how it works. After making past the monster, get on the stove, turn it on, and the glass will break. After that, run down the staircase, get to this really weird room, and get on the door to get to the mirror maze. Unlike all the other parts, the mirror maze is actually pretty easy. Linda will appear out of nowhere and you have to dodge her actions. Somehow, her aim has gotten loads better, and you can't just dodge her bullets anymore. You will actually have to run away from her, unlike part 1. Make your way past her and get to the exit door. By the way, you have to look out for a bench. If you jump over a bench, it signifies that you are close to the door and you are on the right track. It is basically just a clue for you. There's not much to the mirror maze. This part is extremely short. There's not really any external tasks except running from point A to point B, so there's not much to explain here. Dodge your attacks, and you will eventually wander to the exit door. The movie set shows another spike in difficulty. What you have to do is to get to the dots and shoot the dots at the balloons that spawn above you. What I recommend you to do is to scout the houses and places close to you first to get the dot spot. Some dart spots are more generous than others, and you can actually get the darts without alerting the monster that spawns deeper into the movie set. However, you have to alert the monster no matter what, because the balloons will only appear then, and you have to pop them. The balloons are full black and spawn near the sky, and I agree, it takes quite a while to do this, especially with that monster just running around and killing you, and as well with the monster balloons being full black, you really have a hard time just trying to find it. Every time you pop a balloon, you hear a large pop sound. This is where friends would come in handy, as a lot of you guys could just pop balloons at the same time, making it easier. I feel very empathetic for people that are doing it solo or in duos or in very small groups. After you get 10 balloons, you can go towards the big building where the guy spawns. That will lead you to the next part. You enter the Envy's passage entrance, which is stupidly blue, as this menacing monster as well that just stares at you for no good reason. Walk further in and you meet Linda. After that, she teleports you to some small forest area. It's pretty calm here for now. All you have to really do now is just follow the paths, and eventually you will meet the monster. This is where the fun part of Judy starts. Here you can finally fight back against the monsters. There will be weapons on this dude's body which you can actually pull out and use yourself. Yes, for the first time in Judy history, you have weapons. You have a sai as a melee and a spear as a ranged weapon you can throw at the guy. By the way, the sai is kinda useless, the spear is the one that I use a lot more. Sometimes he lunges forward at you and needs a few seconds to bounce back. At this time, he is harmless, and this time is the most optimal time to get weapons from him by pressing E on his skull. Aim for his skull, by the way, as you would playing normal FPS games. After Vijne, is that how you pronounce it? After he collapses, you get the badge. Pretty cool. After that, you walk up to this path going upwards into this really dark corridor into the next part. Keep walking towards that part and you get to Envy's chamber with the Envy boss fight. From this point on, the game is extremely difficult and will be incredibly jaw-dropping at all fronts. Envy's fight is simple, but it's difficult to play around. He just walks around and just tries to hit you, but he has an attack cooldown. It's extremely dark in this chamber, so make sure to use your spear. It makes a bright flare every time you use it, so basically you can use that to make some light and actually see where you're going. There are tons of pillars, so play around that. Envy has a small attack cooldown, so you can actually just circle around a pillar and keep hitting him. That way, you can actually always be out of reach and still be able to hit him. By the way, you are going to be in here for a while. Envy has quite a lot of health. After killing Envy, the entire map will turn bright and you can finally see again. You will get the Kill Envy badge as well. Now right next to the map is a new bridge, and there you can access the final boss fight in Judy Chapter 3. The boss battle is the AV chamber and it's the final part of the game. There are eyes on the chamber, which are the weak spots. Keep hitting that to take away its health. There are two types of attacks that this chamber is capable of: fireballs and rapid fire beams. Fireballs travel at a slow rate and you can actually dodge them pretty easily by just running around. They have splash damage as well. The rapid fire beam, not so much. It's able to track you accurately and kill you if you try and run, so it's not a good idea to keep doing that. What I recommend is for you and your friends to jiggle around these two small pillars around the map. These pillars offer you cover. I also recommend making use of the zoom in feature by right clicking so you can line up shots more accurately. This guy does a ton of damage and has tons of health, by the way, so you're probably going to die a lot here. And if you're only playing solo or with few people, you might struggle with it, definitely. Just jiggle around the pillars, keep hitting the eyes, and make sure you don't die. After that, every chamber will eventually collapse and you reunite with Judy. Judy's extremely happy that she has her body back, but Envy quickly takes the control of Judy, tells you that you broke the spirit out. Envy is able to possess Judy, and yeah, the game ends. Judy Chapter 3 Part 2 is probably my favorite chapter of Judy. If you look past all the bugs, all the problems, and look at the game for what it's trying to be, it's ambitious. The whole thing is extremely ambitious. It pushes Roblox to its absolute limits. And honestly, I feel like people give too much shit for the developer for it. I think we should give the developer some props, man. Because keep in mind, this is a one-man project. I don't think any person can do this alone, to be honest. I'll be making a video about the lore of Judy Chapter 3 in like a few days, breaking down the lore and everything about it. So stick around for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.